underway, I've selected a passage from some AA literature, and then I'll take it over to Paul. And tonight I've chosen page 87, Into Action. As we go through the day, we pause when agitated or doubtful and ask for the right thought or action. We constantly remind ourselves we are no longer running the show, humbly saying to ourselves many times a day, "Thy will be done." We are then in much less danger of excitement, fear, anger, worry, self-pity, or foolish decisions. We become much more efficient. We do not tire so easily, for we are not burning up energy foolishly, as we did when we were trying to arrange life to suit ourselves. It works, it really does. We alcoholics are undisciplined, so we let God discipline us in the simple way we've just outlined. Okay, so that's the reading I've chosen. I'll hand it over to you, Paul.
Thanks, Ben. Hello, everyone. Paul, alcoholic. Yes, another Thursday. Yeah, this is obviously, when you come into recovery, you're coming out of something, a very strong set of conditionings and habits. And so we come into this new way of life with a design for living, and to sort of adapt to that, there's a lot of gravitational pull from the old way of life. So these are the suggestions, this praying and remembering that we're not running the show. And there's a great statement that instead of trying to fit circumstances around us, we fit ourselves around circumstances. And it's sort of, that's a completely opposite direction from one to the other, fitting everything around me or fitting me around everything. This is sort of what's afoot in recovery. We're going to change from a mental condition based on relying on self to a spiritual, let's say, condition, hopefully overriding the mental condition, which is trusting the infinite. Yeah, that's it. So these are the beginning movements from that old gravitational field. So sometimes the ride's rocky in the beginning because the old habits keep veering us back to the old way. And but that will be broken in time. Recovery progresses, just like they say the disease does. I believe recovery from the disease progresses. If you just make a commitment, and it could be an hour or a minute or a day, that you're not going to drink no matter what. Yeah, and maybe that seems to be really extreme, but a lot of times extreme ways are necessary in the beginning. They don't tend to be the way it's going to be for a long period of time, but in the beginning. So you see in our community, some people need a boot camp. Yeah, some people need to have a sergeant at arms yelling at them, and you're going to die if you drink and stuff like that, and that works. Other people rather be led in a looser manner. Yeah, and that will work. But I don't think boot camp life the whole time in recovery works. Yeah, and sometimes you may not have to take it easy. You may have to actually put some effort in for one of those deep mental grooves to change. It just becomes you're on the journey. Yeah. You're on the journey. The journey isn't printed out. The parameters are, but you're living it. Yeah. So that's why it's so important to have mentors or sponsors and other people you talk to, because we're basically on the same journey, so to speak. And so some people have been there longer, some people are coming in. So yeah. So I feel like they talk about it in the third step on page 63. You sincerely take the position of reliance on the higher power, and then you get established in that. So I would say a lot of this is when you sincerely take the position. You got to keep reminding yourself that you're in the position and stuff like that. I don't think that goes on forever. Yeah. I just don't. It didn't with me. Yeah, I did certain things that seemed to be completely necessary until they didn't. Like I had a prayer because I was always up against a sense of entitlement and ingratitude. So when things were going well, I would think I deserve more. So I used to do a little prayer when something went well. I'd say, "Thank you, God. That's more than enough." Yeah, and I did that religiously, not like it just became a habit until something changed, and then that habit didn't wasn't needed anymore. Yeah, I stopped one day, and really never did it again because the gratitude came back, so to speak. Yeah, there was no need to keep, proclaiming it's coming back. It had come back. Yeah, now I was seeing from gratitude, and so when good things happened, I was grateful. I wasn't thinking I deserved more. Yeah, I mean, these are the steps that you get changed. Yeah, not for your great benefit, but to be of maximum use to yourself and others. Yeah. So, yeah. So, these are people, they're giving us instructions as if we just walked in and, this is what you're going to be confronted with. You got to remember, because again, it says, it talks about, yeah, saying to ourselves many times each day, thy will be done. After a while, you see thy will is done. Yeah. It's not, it's going to be done, but it is done. You've come to a conclusion. And therefore, a lot of stuff that was necessary before you came to that conclusion isn't necessary. Yeah. My feeling. So, yeah, you gotta, yes, we have to pay attention to the basics completely, but the effects from having those basic ideas turn into habits are much larger than at first mentioned. Yeah, they grow. Yeah, your ability to enjoy peace of mind grows. Yeah, the sense of feeling the presence of this power grows. Yeah, you've learned that you can face life successfully. That grows. Yeah, yeah. So yeah, working into action for sure. Like someone called me. I was at another meeting that we do, and someone was sitting there. They have a lot of time on their hands, and they're just trying to think as self to get out of self. And so I just said, you just do some service. Yeah, it would be much more efficient than you staying home thinking about you, escaping from you. Yeah, just do some service. It works a lot better. Yeah, it was a simple answer. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, that's about it with that. We can go on, but I hope you get the feeling, yeah, of perhaps there is a better way. Isn't one or the other. It's growing from one to the other. Yeah. It's outgrowing the reliance on self and growing into the reliance on a higher power. It's not like day and night. It's not like, all right, Tuesday and then Wednesday morning. It's completely, yeah, it's a movement. Yeah. But in this case, there's two steps forward, and then your head says you took a step back. And then you realize you're not listening to the head as much anymore. So there's a recognition of two steps forward. Yeah. Not the emphasis on one step back. You see? And these things, you get changed. Yeah. You're not the changing mechanism, but you get changed. You submit to being changed, and you will be changed right before your eyes. And as they talk about in observations in recovery, that the person who's being changed usually doesn't have any idea of it because it's still listening to the old narrative. Yeah. It's people that aren't them that say, hey, man, you've really changed, bro, in the last 6 months. Your story in your head, you haven't changed at all. Yeah. So which evidence do you want to take? The evidence of that is false, or the new evidence that someone's given you? Yeah, this is the transfer of faith in self into faith in the higher power. Yeah. And a lot of us are way farther than we think. The thinking isn't the the thinking is like dragging one's feet. Yeah. It's not giving us a true assessment because the thinking is infected with alcoholism. Yeah. It's part of the problem at this point. Like they talked about in We Agnostics on page 53, reason was great as far as it went, but at this point, it's not working. Yeah. So the system that we relied on and maybe was reliable at one time has been infected with alcoholism. The problem resides in the mind. Yeah. So that infection is causing something that may have been sort of strong to be very, very weak. So it depends on advertising constantly. It's constantly proclaiming shit to us. Yeah. And we're buying it usually hook, line, and sinker. I've seen people sitting there and they're actually sober, but they don't think they are. They're sitting in the room because they're thinking, I'm going to shoot heroin next week, but they're not shooting it now. They're sober now, but that's being totally eclipsed by what's not happening. But I'm sure I'm going to be shooting heroin next week. Yeah. So the thing that would maybe cause not shooting heroin next week, which is the present tense of consciousness of being sober, is being eclipsed by the obsession with the thoughts of, but I'm going to be using heroin next week. Yeah. But in fact, you're sober now. So this is a lot of the reliance on self is reliance on thoughts, truly. Yeah. And that's going to break. It's going to break. You're going to be moved before the thoughts tell you you're going to be moved. Yeah, you are. You're going to realize you're actually living before the interpretation that thoughts provide. You're actually here before it says you're here. Yeah. So maybe the race would look different if you started on time. Yeah, maybe you would see it as maybe a leisurely walk or something else, not the meaning it's given by the head. I don't know, it's working with me. So thank God the thoughts seem like so far after what's actually happening. It's a great perception. Yeah, I'm already like in my bed, nice and comfortable. Then the thoughts tell me I'm fucked. Yeah, but I'm already aware that I'm in my bed, nice and comfortable. So it seems pretty weird. It's like getting something on your email from like a spam from 30 years ago. See, you know, to me, I see it really. I have this thing that happens on the phone a lot. I get a message, and for some reason, the phone blocks this one thing, and it calls it scam likely. So I get this message, scam likely is calling me. So I never answer. Well, this is what happens. The broadening of what the head is presenting as scam likely gets more and more clear. So there's less answering the phone. You know what I mean? All right, scam, what's happening? You're gonna be fucked. She's planning to leave you. What you know, uh, you know, do you want to confront it after you've swallowed the propaganda? It's best just not to answer the phone. Yeah. So hopefully that screen, that's us, there's an appearance, false evidence, getting ready to appear real. It doesn't have, so there's a whole bunch of calls that fall under scam likely. Whole bunch of them. Yeah. They come from different places like the North Pole, Dakota, some fucking crazy number, but they're all of scam likely. Yeah. So you now start seeing the similarity of the bullshit and the differences. Yeah, you see it. You see the bullshit has a very similar smell and taint, yeah, and how it's presented as if it's a huge, newsflash is bogus. Yeah, yeah. Now you have an immunity to something you did not have an immunity to. Yeah. And then hopefully that immunity tells you why you did not have the immunity. And it was faith in self. It was the bondage of self. Yeah. We've been relying on something unreliable. Yeah. And we look exactly like something that was relying on something unreliable. That's basically it. Yeah. So wherever you think you are, you're probably not there anyway. Yeah, you're just here. Yeah. And hopefully the first basic foundation is here sober. Yeah. All right. Here, yes. Sober, yes. Okay, let's see what else happens. Now you've got everything lined up, and maybe the next set of lands, the reality of here and sober is there. It's not getting moved by all false evidence. And then now you start seeing things clearly. Yeah. 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 Because it's a sound basis of living. Yeah. Here, sober. All right. There you go. Yeah. So, all right.
Okay,
That's
thanks,
it.
Paul.
Yeah.
Thank you, Paul.
Yeah. I don't know what it was all about. Oh, yeah. Just trying to remind you of something that's different than what your head's trying to remind you of all day. Yeah. But that, I'm telling you, that changes. It definitely does. Yeah. You don't, maybe you have to, throw 12 pails of water on the fire. Down the road, you won't have to throw 12 pails of water usually. Yeah. Because
Yeah.
the interest in the fire has been extinguished. Not the fire, but the interest in the fire. Yeah. You've lost interest in all the mental fires. Yeah. You have. You will. Yeah.
So it's just getting out of self as well. But the practice is just getting out of self. It's not specifically
Well,
meditation. Or,
hopefully you'll realize you've never been in self, but right in the beginning, you got to get out of self because you don't know what it's like being out of self in self. So you have to do service. You got to do some things that bring you out of that fucking orbit that we seem to be in. Yeah. Because all you do from there, when you're stuck in the orbit, all you can do is imagine how the orbit would think it would look, which is total bogusness. Yeah. You do something, you go to an H&I meeting, hospital or whatever, and you get that attention and interest gets pulled out of that orbit, and you feel fucking better, and you feel useful, and you feel like you're a part of, and you feel like you belong, and all this. All that stuff that you're trying to think yourself into happens when you're out of the thinking. Yeah. So that's at one point. Then there's a part where there's a realizing you were not and you are not that which you thought you were in. So then the skillful means aren't as used as much because you're before the bondage now. You're not reacting to the bondage after it, you're before it. Yeah. Which is completely different. That's a completely different relief. It's usually doesn't necessarily be triggered by an action. It's there before actions. Yeah. Yeah. So, but at first, for sure, man, you've got to get out of that neighborhood. Yeah. You do. Because you're nuded, basically. You don't know what it feels like to enjoy peace of mind at that point. You don't know what it feels like to be concerned about another. You don't know these feelings anymore. They've been sort of whitewashed out of you. Yeah. And in a sense, you don't know any better because you don't have anything to stand on. You're just living on a paper thin reality made up. Yeah. Mostly of what's not happening. Yeah. And it's looking out to reinforce and protect its little story. It doesn't give a shit about us. Yeah. Look at it. Just look at the example. I've seen it a lot, even in my own life. Uh, you have a new surfboard, yeah, or a new board, and you're going towards the rock. You try to save the board, not you, because the board has more value than you in the mental condition. Isn't that revealing? Yeah. I'm going to get washed up on the rocks, but I'm going to push that new $800 board to safety. Yeah. I mean, that somebody's revealed itself. Some process just revealed itself to you. It doesn't value you at all. Yeah. It rather saved the board than you. You ever have a situation when you were out there when your one of your big principles in your little fucking crazy world was loyalty, and then someone rats you out to the cops? It's a very, very disappointing moment. Yeah, it's just like unbelievable. You saw they were pushed to another value. Yeah, they were afraid of what their parents were going to think, so they sent, they sold you out, so to speak. Wow. Yeah. Yes. So something was revealed in that moment of getting sold out that changed me and my relationship to that person. It did. Well, this is the thing. Haven't you seen the relationship self has with you? It could give a shit. It would rather save $100 thing than you. It finds more value in that surfboard than it does in you. You watch it when people are riding their bikes, they try to they soften the blow of the bike with their body. You know, I just bought this $1,000 bike, and in a sense, that which is the selfing just showed you its value system. The bike is more important than you are. I mean, really. Yeah. Yeah. Wasn't that a crashing thing when someone else's saving one's ass was more important than the loyalty with the criminals, the fellow criminals? It was demoralizing. I remember it. I was in jail that night. I remembered it. I remembered how flipped out I was. The guy sold me down the river right in front of. We were about six of us, and someone had to take the fall. So yeah, yeah. All these ideas, yeah. There's no honor among thieves. And the self, if anything the self is a thief. Yeah. Yeah. So uh,
Okay, thank you, Paul. Yeah.
yeah, do you want to really uh, it's not going to be a service animal. It's not going to learn any new tricks. It's not going to fetch. If you send it out to get something, it's going to bring what it wants back. You know, it's not reliable. It's just that simple. And what can a failed system show us? Has failed. Haven't you seen it yet? Obviously, you have. Yeah. Perhaps there's a better way. Trusting the infinite rather than finite self. So basically, that statement is implying you're in a condition of trusting finite self. That's basically the diagnosis. They're not diagnosing the new way or the better way. They're diagnosing the old way, yeah, with the better way. So the message is, check it out. Is there an inordinate amount of trust or faith in self, this mental activity, this reason and this intellect and how you think things are, or not? Has it proved to be reliable for you or not? Yeah. That's what makes the solution attractive. Yeah. That's why we don't have the third step as the first step. We talk about the futility of trying to manage an unmanageable life. Any life run on self-will is not going to be successful. You have to have a conclusion around that to be ready for step 3. Yeah. And why do they say right before step 3, quit playing God? Because they want to warn us about self is going to claim that it's the one that's surrendering to God. Yeah. And now it will play God with God. So it warns us. It says, first, You've got to quit playing God. Yeah. So that obviously assumed that there's been a playing of God for quite a while in all of us. Yes. Well, why would they say it? Why would they say in a linear process, first is the most important thing, next is not? First is the most important thing, and it says first, you got to quit playing God. So obviously, what's that implying? There's been a playing of God. Yes, obviously. And so what? And you know damn well, if you try to quit playing God, that's just playing God. So how is there a quitting playing God? Losing interest in that act of being identified as you. Yes? Yeah. You lose interest in that which is playing God. You do. And you stop calling it you. Yeah. And then you see what is false evidence constantly being presented all day? A form of playing God. Yeah. What is your head doing when it's telling you how the day's going to be before you even arrive at the job? That's playing God. Yes. When it says when you walk in your first meeting, you're never going to get this. Playing God, playing God, playing God, playing God, playing God. Yeah. Everyone wants to run to the third step, but they don't dwell on the playing God. It's the most important aspect of the third step. Because if the selfing claims to make the decision, it's transactional, really. I'm going to surrender, but if I don't get that new girlfriend, I'm taking it back or whatever. I've seen it with people. They'll surrender everything, but maybe not the body image. So all the resentments and anxiety they have now is about the body image because there's no surrender there. Yeah. They're still trying to manage and control. The head is. Yeah. The diagnosis is right here. It's right in front of us. The thing is doing gymnastics. It's in the circus of playing God. We've got seemingly a season pass. We're always in the front seat. What's playing God? You haven't seen it? If something tells you how the day's going to be before it was lived, that's playing God. Yes or no? Of course it is. If it constantly forecasts your demise, even when you're feeling fucking great, that's playing God. Yeah. Now we know that which is playing God can't quit playing God. So what's the only other possibility? See, you're not that which is playing God. That's the only possibility. Yeah. That's where the freedom lies. Yeah. Not the thoughts, but being the thinker. Are you the thinker of all these thoughts? Or are you the act of noticing thoughts? I would say the latter, yeah? The head will say the former. The head says, if there's a thought that's been noticed, there's a thinker of it, and you're that. Yes? Same thing with doing. That's why some of us are still bound by actions that occurred 30 years ago. And we made amends and we've done everything. And it's just the head just keeps going back to that well of doership, and it just brings up shame and guilt, shame and guilt, shame and guilt. Fucking, it's 30 years ago. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, Paul. If anyone's got a question, you're free to raise your hand, the virtual hand. I know Andrew's got a question, so I'll unmute you. Okay. Hi, Andrew.
Hi. Hello, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, clear? Is it all clear? Yeah?
Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, we can hear you. Yeah.
That's good. Thanks, Paul. Thanks for that information. I really appreciate it. Yeah, I mean, I guess how I come across as to what you're saying is that, you know, there's only one self, and everything else that arises from that one self. is what causes the problems. Because you were talking about, you know, an act of addiction, I suppose. I was identifying, like you were saying, I was identifying that I am that thought. But I'm not that thought. I'm just the observer of that thought.
Well, you're the observing, you're not
Observing,
the observer.
yeah. And I was reading about how it says about God and us allowing God to sort of like, you know, like a surrender to God's will. You know how God says in the Bible, I am that I am. Can you sort of like elaborate on that a wee bit more? I don't know if you know anything about it, because I sort of look at that as how I was looking at it, that when God says, I am that, when Moses came to God and he says, go and tell the people that, you know, I am that I am. And I was thinking about that and I thought, well, okay, so it must mean that we are this one infinite unity of everything, of which we are part of God.
Yeah, but see, we don't need to go there today with that, because again, that's like a conceptual star hanging in a sky. Yeah, you can use it maybe as a North Star, but it's sooner or later going to have to fall out of the sky. Let's just look at our condition right now. Yeah, is there an ease and comfort, or is there irritability, restless, and discontent? Yes, and which one is which? Is the ease and comfort below, which is affecting the irritable, restless, or discontent, or is the discontent aggravating a searching for ease and comfort? Yeah, which sometimes becomes like an addiction. Yes, which is it? You'll see where you're at on the spectrum of trusting the finite or trusting the infinite. Yeah, we don't need you know, whatever can make you, you know, help you on a certain way. But remember, I just feel like I've gotten dumber as I went along, which is great. Yeah, about a lot of stuff. But I do have a sense of you know, the I am that I am, which is, you know, the I am existence is the I am. Yes, so I am that I am. Yeah, it's not I, not a separate I, and then I'm also that. It's I am that I am. That's all there is that. Yeah, okay. So obviously this, we have a sense of individuality. We were talking about it earlier. Where the programming of Paul as an action figure is based on separation, obviously. Yeah, I see you as a different thing, and I'm seeing from a different thing. Yeah, so that separation that's believed to be true creates a desire for union or connection or belonging. Do you see? So the belief in separation makes it seem like belonging or to a group or connection or unity is a far off goal, when in fact the underlying condition is unity. Yeah, the take from irritability, restlessness, and discontent is separation, but that's not the view. That's an agitated mental view. Yeah, the view, that's why in AA which talks about, hey, check out the similarities, not the differences. Well, the great similarity is all there is that. Yeah, so you know, so but yeah, so you just see it. You know, I was convinced of the first step completely, thoroughly, and basically I've witnessed something doing for us what we couldn't do for ourselves over and over and over and over again, past the point of building up a case against something. It's just a fact, yeah, in my experience. Yeah, so there you go. I don't have any reasons why it is or not. It just is. Yeah, something was put to rest, and truly put to rest. Yeah. And I feel basically the day starts with the problem doesn't exist for me. I'm not trying to achieve that through the day. I start there, and I believe that can become a habitual starting point for all of us. I do. Yeah. So nice way to go, that the problem doesn't exist for you right now. So it's great to talk about it when it doesn't exist for you. It's awesome. Yeah, it's truly awesome. So that's why you can laugh, because you're not there anymore. Yeah, you were crying when you seemed to be there, but now that you're not there anymore, you can laugh laugh like hell. Yeah. So that's what I'm looking for. What is going to why not just have a clear diagnosis? Yeah, of how maybe read page 64, see what it means to you, that sentence, being convinced that self manifested in various ways. I've had conversations with others that don't see it the way I see it. They think self and us are the same thing, and I don't see it that way. So everyone has their view, it's fine. But I haven't been turned to their view from their talking to me, because I just don't see it that way. I see it. I think in English it seems very obvious that self is different than us. Yeah, it's obviously, and there's this, and it doesn't say us has defeated us. It says self has defeated us. So I would think the all differences in us, there's no differences found in self. Self has a finite amount of characteristics and trait, yet it's driven all of us, yeah, to where it's driven us, yeah. And you can see we tend to end up in the same place. So I figure it's the same thing that's driving the cars, all the different cars, yeah. And then we're going to look at its manifestations in our lives to get a sense of it, because we don't seem to get a sense of it because we're in the act of identifying as it. So we've got to get a sense of it by checking out its manifestations, and then see, because why would I ever defeat myself? But then you see manifestations have defeated you, yeah. And then you realize, Jesus, I'm calling self manifestations mine. Bingo. Now you've had a clear diagnosis. Yeah. Okay, start
Yes.
there. Yeah, and then
Yeah.
then when something you may say, there'll be weight to it. And usually there'll be a weight to it, and you won't even say it anymore. You'll just be, yeah, things will become clear. And there's not like a drive to want it to be clear. Yeah. It's just what's going on. Yeah. And more gets revealed. And so look at the inventory process. Can you do a inventory looking at manifestations called resentment and fear and harms unto others as yours? Yes, most people do it that way. Can you do an inventory based on the other view that they're manifestations of self in one's life? Yes, I would recommend it. Yeah. And see what you'll get, a completely different answer from one of the inventories than the other inventory. You will. So, and I feel there's a problem with the answer we get from the common inventory. I do, because I feel like we walk in with my resentments and we leave with my resentments. I'd like to see the my get lost there, or at least the beginning of it. Yeah, I would. I feel the my is where all the meaning comes from. I do. Now. You don't care about other people's resentments. You care a lot about your resentments. Yeah. Obviously, a resentment is something that a lot of meaning can be given to, and I feel the head does through the word my. Yeah. And I think it happens a lot unbeknownst to us. Yet we're weighed down by the weight, but we don't know why. And then we make up a lot of rationales and reasons, but it's not a clear diagnosis, I don't feel. Yeah, so, I mean, if you have like, it's simple. You have eczema, you think it's psoriasis, you buy a lot of psoriasis ointment, it doesn't work, yeah, shit like that. Because why? Not because you're a terrible psoriasis ointment, giver. No, you misdiagnosed it as eczema. Yeah. Now some of the problems with psoriasis and eczema are shared, but eczema is different. So yeah, you're not going to get a true result because you haven't had a clear diagnosis. Once you get eczema ointment, it will disappear. Yeah. So there's tons of ointments, there's tons of applications, but I feel the diagnosis is off, to tell you the truth. I do. So I think a lot of people are putting psoriasis ointment on eczema.
Yeah.
Because I did it, and just trying to share
It's
a simple
a
correction.
it's a wrong identification, isn't it? It's
Yes,
the wrong identification.
yes, because the problem resides in the mind. What we rely on to know about us is the mind, and the mind has a story about us as self, and self has what has defeated us, and we're not realizing. We're thinking it's Paul, is getting defeated. It's self. Self is defeating us. Yeah, yeah. That's the statement. It's, I don't know what happened. I don't know how it got translated into, let's do an inventory on our resentments. I don't see that. I mean, the way it's presented, it sounds like resentment is a manifestation of self. Yeah. So it's sort of like going home with the instruction to do an inventory on Stanley's manifestations and then present it as my manifestations. The person who got that presentation would probably say, hey, bro, you're suffering from the act of being identified as Stanley. Really? Oh, far out. That's an incredible moment right there. What? Yes. Okay. Let's look at the manifestations as Stanley's, not mine. See if it changes things. It did with me and the people I've worked with. Yeah. It's just so the proof is in the pudding, seriously. Why is it that there's such, I know it sounds crazy, but there's not much success in addictive treatments, is there really? The addiction teams, it's sort of like a forest, like a wildfire that never really gets put out. Yeah. Maybe it's 50% contained, but it's still burning a lot of shit up. Yeah. It seems like in a society, addiction's winning out. Yeah. So maybe, just maybe, if the diagnosis was clearer, there would be more possibility. Who knows? But what's a fool to do but attempt to present it? Yeah, really, because if you've seen people who work in the business, it's very demoralizing. Yeah, very demoralizing what happens. Yeah. How people come up to the surface and then they go back to drowning again, over and over again. So I feel there's something going on. I do. I just don't feel there's an activity that's causing a lack of efficiency about other activities. Yeah, this selfing is an activity that's really diminishing other activities' effects. Yeah. I just don't think things can work as well as they could based on the underlying activity of identification as self. I just don't see it. I think it's really handicapping recovery and everything else. I do. So, yeah, it's not about changing it. It's about seeing it's not you. It's not about changing it. It's about seeing it's not you. You're not going to go in there as it and change it. Yeah, self can't get out of self, but there can be a seeing of it and a truth telling. Yeah, yeah. Like the truth telling we had in recovery was I'm fucked. That was a truth telling. Yeah. When that was downloaded into me, that put an end to so much shit. Just a simple stopping. Yeah. Because I had already been stopped over and over again. It was all a charade. And then somebody put an end to that. And then the whole life changed from that point on. Yeah. So, yeah. If something's going on that causes an activity to have a different meaning than you think the activity would have, yeah, that makes it very important to see that influence before all activities. Yeah. And the influence is the claiming of being the one that's doing everything. That influence is influencing everything we do. The feeling of being the one that's doing it all. That's the huge influence we're not seeing. Yeah. So you try to act yourself into something, but there's an underlying agenda that's overriding the actions. Yeah. Because the sense of being the doer of the actions is migrating to whatever action you do. Yeah. And the doer of the actions is the bondage. Not so much what you're doing. On some levels, that needs to be changed definitely. But on a general level, the sense of being the doer is completely changing what the actions could or could not produce. That's how I've seen it. Yeah. Yeah. So what's one to do about that? Just see it, fucking admit that you're outmatched. Yeah. And really, really, there will be an evacuation of relying on that failed system and hopefully to the infinite. Yeah. And then that life that seemed totally worthless will be put to great use. Yeah. And you'll find some peace in a world that you never found peace in. Yeah. You will find, yeah. I wanted to get out of here since I've been 6, seriously. Strong feeling. Yeah. I had a big hole. And my drive was to fill it. I didn't know that's where spirit enters. Yeah, that hole. It's a wonderful space, but I thought I got to fill that fucker. And man, I just went off the rails, and till I was like ravenous, like a two-legged wolf, basically. Ravenous, just fucking, just wanting to change my feeling no matter what. Yeah, just had to change. I just could not bear being where I thought I was. That's insanity, yeah? Wow. So, I mean, sometimes the disease shows its hand completely, and if you don't die, you know something now. You know something about the head, that it does value the surfboard more than you. It values pretty much anything more than you. Really. Oh, Jesus, I can't rip my pants and you fall off the cliff. You know what I mean? It just blows my mind.
It's taken us for a ride.
Yes, it has. Well, it's expressing itself the only way it can, which is through someone. It can't express as you because it ain't, but it expresses through us. Yeah, it does. It's got a pretty broad brush in most of our lives. Yeah, that's why we can recognize each other. Yeah, because that which has taken us over is the dominant influence. Yeah. So I can see it in Michael and Kurt, and they can see it in me, and yeah, it's a phantom. There is no self, but it's definitely an activity. Yeah, but you can't picture it. You can't find it in an X-ray. Yeah, but it's very, very, very influential. Extremely. Yeah. So we got a little deeper
Thank
there,
you.
but
Okay, thank you, Paul. Has anyone else got a question?
when you do an action, you think the action is going to have a reaction and it has a plan and it's directed, but it ain't. There's some shit going on every time there's an action happening. Yeah. Something else has an agenda with that action and it's using it. And sometimes it gets to the point, like it says in a great statement in a spiritual point of view, which is, you're in a certain condition, and then at that point, your spiritual practices themselves are reinforcing the problem. How can they destroy it? Yeah. That's an incredible view. Yeah. Yeah. So I feel it's important sooner or later to get to the underlying causes and conditions that percolate into this experience we're having. And because if you really want to have true change on the experiential level, it's not going to come from experience. It's going to come from underneath. Yeah. Attitudes and outlooks and shit like that. Yeah. You can't change experience with experience. It doesn't work. Yes. It's just going to add more and more experiences. But there can be a change in what's influencing everything by seeing it. Yeah. Underneath. Yeah. Yeah. It's sort of like a hockey match would do a lot better on ice than a hardwood floor, yes? So, yeah, the hardwood floor, unbeknownst to the hockey people, would really fuck up the game of hockey. And the ice would make it a lot smoother. Yeah. So the basis, the causes and conditions are the most influential, and then they express at the end. Let's say the leaf of the tree is like the less consequential part of the tree. Yeah. Yet it's what we look at most, probably. Yes. So the same way, the least consequential part is the level of consequences. Yeah. It's what's underneath it that's bringing it about. It's not essential to see, but if you've been drowning, it may be helpful. Check it out. Yeah. Yeah. You don't want to be drowning with the preserver of recovery on it, and then you were drowning with the life preserver with addiction on it. Yeah. 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 All right. Thanks. Anyone else?
Yeah, okay. Maya, I'll ask you to unmute.
Yes, thank you. Thanks, Paul. Maya calling from Jordan, alcoholic and a multidisciplinary addict. My question is, every time I deal with one addiction, it's like the same energy of that one addiction goes into another addiction. So, AA, SLA, CODA, ACA, DA, NA, and it's like I'm going to God knows how many programs, but that thing, whatever you call it, is still there. It's still there. So can you clarify to me maybe if you have anything to say about that?
Yes. Well, there's the you that's in all those other addictions. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
Yes?
I'm the common denominator. Exactly, yeah.
So that's the addiction. The addiction is that which is in all the addictions. So why don't you just look that way? Yeah. Stop going for all the specifics and get to the larger forest view. Yeah. Because obviously it doesn't seem to be working going over each tree. Yeah. So just go to, yeah. See who, it's sort of like when I had maybe I had 8 or 9 very significant relationships and they all seemed to have failed. And I realized the only constant in all of them was me. Yeah, that's a very important point. So just go back to that and see who's you. Yeah. If it's not you, you'll lose interest in dealing with all of its addictive branches. Yeah, you will. Which is really, yeah. You'll know when you're onto something. A lot of other shit collapses. Yeah. I used to use it as a row of knots, let's say. And let's say some of the knots are inability to have viable relationships with people, drug use, whatever. And so obsessive shyness, whatever. So then, all right, we're going to work on each knot, try to get some relief. Yeah. But the relief from that knot doesn't bring relief to the other knots. And so it's a lot of work. But why not go back and follow it to the first knot, let's say, which is you, the idea of you, the idea of you having all these addictive natures. Yeah. And then tell the truth about that. And that, when that knot loosens up, there's a thread from that knot that runs through everything, all the other knots, and there'll be a loosening, sometimes quickly, sometimes slowly, but you'll see its effects. It's like you forgot about throwing the pebble in, but you're still seeing the rings. Yeah, yeah, it's because you hit the mark. Yeah, you've gotten down to it. So I would suggest that, tell you the truth. Yeah.
Okay, thank you, thank you.
Yeah, see, there's a story in your head that you, substantial, real, solid, is having all these addictive natures. But that which is saying that is an addictive nature in itself. Yeah. So why not just go to the root instead of the branches? Just more efficient. Yeah. The branches are 9, the root's 1. Why die with 9 when you can look at 1? Yeah. The 1's going to affect the 9 don't affect the 1. So let's go to the 1. This is much more significant. Yeah. Which is you, the common denominator. Because in not, you keep playing with the equation, but you're not changing the primary number. You're going to get the same crazy math. Yeah. Yeah. That would be the suggestion. Yes.
Sorry, so that one, to getting to the root, that one, is that the self you're talking about?
Yes. Yes. The feeling, the feelings and the sense and the historical image of you. Yeah. A story. And part of its story is that it has a lot of stories. So just all these addictions are being had by an addiction, so to speak. Yeah. So it's sort of like Dracula going out on vampire hunts to disguise that no one will look at Dracula as a vampire because it's hunting the vampires. Yes. Well, this is about just going to Dracula. Call off the hunts and just check it out. Tell the truth. Yeah. You'll see what happens. Yeah. Are you exactly what the head presents you to be? Are you? Really? Are you the seer of all things? Or is there seeing? And if there's seeing and there's a seer, which is essential? For seeing, there's no need to be a seer. But for there to be a seer, there has to be seeing. So there you go. Yeah.
So you're saying to be an observer of self, basically?
I'm not saying to be an observer of self. You just heard about self. It landed somewhere. And then have the warning that the self is going to claim the seeing of itself. And then you'll be in the paradigm of self, can't get out of self again. So just heed the warnings and recognize it. More is going to be revealed. Stop looking down the way and just look. Yeah. Stop looking down the branches and you'll see the tree, so to speak. Yeah. That's my feeling. Yeah. So you could do this. All right. I have addiction. Okay. Who has that addiction? And then your name, whatever. All right. Now, could there be any possible relation between the one who has all the addictions and the addictions? Yeah. Now, let's take the specificness off of them, and maybe the one that's having the addiction is an addiction. Yes. It's the mental addiction, and the mental's addiction is to the idea of being a self. That's what it is. So that's the original drug, and then it has all these complaints about all these other seeming drugs. Yeah. So it's willing to see the addiction in action, but it won't see the source of it. Yeah. Yeah. So here you go. Check it out. Come back here. Hopefully these talks will support you in that endeavor. Yeah. And people stay around after the talks. They've been mighty happy to talk with you, especially if you enjoyed and maybe you need to hear some, get other points of view. Yeah. So people are readily here, and just stay with us maybe a little more than one time and see what happens. Maybe you'll start feeling a little lighter. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you.
Yeah.
I will.
The tendency to be addictive doesn't mean you can't travel lighter through it. Yes. As long as you take away the ownership of you are the one that's being addictive, which means, whoa, that, you may be able to live with these little abnormalities quite easily when they're not yours. Yeah, seriously. Yeah. I'm crazy still. I fucking have, I do crazy shit still, but on a very small scale, I'm not burning anyone's houses down or shit like that. Yeah. If you came over here, I'd probably try to sell you a leather bag or a leather wallet. I have antique leather bags and wallets. I don't have enough money to fill all the wallets. I just have them because I like them. What? Oh, yeah. They make no sense. Shit. Kill me. There was a great master, Nisargadatta Maharaj, very interesting character. He was a smoker and stuff, and people from the West would be aghast. How can he be smoking? And he said, hey, give the body a bone, it likes nicotine. Just like he saw it in a completely different way. Yeah. Yeah. So, yeah, honey. And remember, hon, rule 62, don't take yourself so seriously. Self is being taken really seriously if you're going to 9 fucking different addictive meetings. You know what I mean? Yeah, yeah, it's, I think you just go back and see who the hell is having all these things. Yeah. If it's not you, you'll be able to treat them a lot better. Yeah, yeah. Could you imagine if you were the doctor and you were the patient, and the doctor, without the patient knowing, has a completely different agenda than the patient? Yeah. So you're asking the doctor to work on the patient, which is self can't get out of self and stuff. Yeah. Where you really got to see the doctor's fucking unreliable. Yeah. 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 So, yeah. All right. Thanks.
All right, Paul. Patrick's wanting to come in. If you've got time for another one.
Hey, Paul. How you doing?
I'm good. Good. I'm trying to find you. All right. Oh, Patrick. Yes. How you doing, my friend?
Good. I was just wondering if you could do a little bit of your riff on the seemingly hopeless state of mind part in the front of the book. I kind of would love to get a hit off of that.
Well, if you look up the word seemingly, one of the definitions, which is it appears to be true or false to us, yes? Very important. So there's the us first, and then there's something there, and then there's a seemingliness here. So to us, something can appear to be true or false. Yeah. Why is that? Because really nothing is actually inherently true or false. Yes. It's being given a meaning. So the big book uses that word, which was awesome. It says, we are 100 men and women who have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. So that condition was appearing to be true to us. Yeah. That it was a hopeless state of mind and body. And basically, if something's hopeless, you're pretty much in a fuck it, yeah? Like, fuck it then, I'm just going to keep getting loaded. Yeah, so the great breakthrough is to see that hopeless state of mind and body as being seemingly so. It's just an appearance to us. If the us changes, that appearance will change. Yes? And now the possibility of being free from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body will become available, because it's not a hopeless state of mind and body. It's only a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body. Therefore, you're still the biggest influence of your own recovery, because it's appearing to you that it's hopeless. It's not hopeless. That's the great news, yeah? But it's appearing to you, because you are giving everything all the meaning it has. It doesn't go into that. But that is basically an example of giving meaning, yes? That we saw something as hopeless that wasn't. Yeah? So there is a solution in addiction. Yeah? That takes out the hopelessness of it. Really, there's a solution. If there was no solution, that would be hopeless. Yeah, but there is a solution, as the chapter in our book states. Yeah, so seemingly we have recovered from a seemingly hopeless state of mind and body, because obviously no one would recover from a hopeless state of mind and body. Yes, if it was hopeless, there would be no recovery. That's what the head would like you to believe, is that it's hopeless and there is no recovery. But in 1939, a book came out, and there is a solution to sort of combat that understanding that nothing's ever going to change. No, that's not true. Yeah. So it's a very profound statement, at least to me in the book, is that the word seemingly is very important, because how does false evidence appear real? False evidence seemingly appears real. It appears real to me, yes? So all evidence is seemingly so. The head's presenting evidence, and it appears real to me. So its false evidence appears real, but how can it appear real? It has to appear real to me, yes? That's a huge role we play. The evidence doesn't appear real on its own. It's false. It's false evidence that appears real based on how we see or how we swallow the false evidence. Yeah. If we're in the addiction of self, we're going to swallow a lot of false evidence, and it's going to appear real to us. And there's going to be decisions made based on that, which are going to be incorrect because it's not true. Yes. And that's captured by any life run on self-will can hardly be a success. That's what's going on. Yeah. You're taking a very myopic, biased view as the God honest truth, and then behavior is being determined by that, and you're out there following a fucking crazy drummer, so to speak. Yeah. Yeah. Yes. Yeah. So seemingly hopeless state of mind and body means it's not a hopeless state of mind and body. Yeah. Yeah. So just like people come and talk to you, I'm completely fucked. No, you're not. But, and then you'll go on for 20 minutes why they're completely fucked, but they're not completely fucked. I don't care how bad it looks. I've seen miracle upon miracle. Thank God, not based on the person's forecast, but in an overriding of that forecast by the grace of the program. Tons of times, yeah. People who had no, they used to do a simple thing where we lived. They'd have you write down what you would like after a year of sobriety, yeah. And then if you made it, your sponsor would bring it out, and then he would read it to you, and you'd see how small you were making yourself. You had shortchanged yourself so fucking much. What life gave you in this year of sobriety was so beyond what you could have imagined. Yeah. Yes. So yes, is that all right? Yeah. Yeah. Patrick, yes, good. Good. Yes. Seemingly so. That's a very important part to point at our huge role in things. Yeah. I don't want to underestimate how huge we are in a way. It's captured by a statement in the Course in Miracles that you and I give everything all the meaning it has. That's an incredible big role here. Yeah. It's like we are the dreaming of this event. Let's get not too metaphysical, but in a fact, the worst thing that ever happened to you can be seen as the best thing that ever happened to you. I mean, nothing really has a reality that it stands alone with. We give everything all the meaning it has. We're the reality in this place. Yeah. As Jesus, I thought Jesus, I don't know, he seemed to have taken it to be very important, because all the time he was saying it's done according to your belief. It's based on your faith that makes it so. Obviously, he was seeing a lot more power where that seemingly powerless person was sitting. Yeah. And yeah. Faith in the infinite is unbelievable. It just, you're not going to get relief from the problem. Yeah, you get, the problem isn't going to produce the relief. Yeah, the relief is outside of the problem. Yeah, and it is in that faith in something greater than yourself, truly. It's not your faith, it's faith. Yeah, and hopefully, if you need any evidence to be swayed to lead it that way, a life run on self-will should have been enough. Yeah, we've seen it. We've seen that we're not managerial quality. We've seen way too much. It would be piling on at this moment. Yeah, we've got the evidence. Just tell the truth about the old employer. Tell the truth about what's playing God. Tell the truth about that and see where it takes you. Yeah. Right into the hands of the new employer. Tell you the truth, in my view. Yeah. Yeah. So, all right. Thanks, man. I think that's about it, for today. I can never see the time on this new,
Yeah, that's about it, Paul.
Yeah, that's the end of the questions. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's say goodbye and hello for everyone. Yes. Jacob, thank you for running the show today. And Ben, thank you.
Yeah, that's Ben. All Ben. Ben and Kurt.
All Ben, little Jacob. All right. We got PK. We got Paul from the UK. Nice to see you, Pablo. Carl. We got Kurt. Always good. We got Ted. Ted. Nice to see Ted. Yeah. We got Ben from the UK. Andrew from the UK. Thank you, Andrew, for the questions. Very helpful. And just the miracles happening right underneath our feet. Just you're staying sober. That's the primary. That's going to be what's going to settle a lot of shit. Yeah. Just get sober. Yeah. Michael Stacy. Nice to see you. Do not have communications with Amelia about any four-legged possibilities. I'm cutting you off. Alex, nice to see you, honey. Yep. I like the color there. The hair is, yeah. It's a good one. We got Walter. Walter, I know my color is working on the Zoom. Definitely. It's pretty good. We got Maya. Maya, yes. The Buddhist hand imprint. Yeah, very nice. We got PK. Crazy PK. How are you, bro? Yeah, nice to see you. Let's see. We've got Tom in Keene, New Hampshire. He's wondering, why am I living in Keene, New Hampshire? I just caught him there. Yeah. Oliver, nice to see you in Berlin. Ruby Rose in Wichita. That's one large chimney there. I like that. You got a wall, a brick wall. That's pretty cool. We got Mickey, the matriarch of Madeira. Yes. We got Logan. Nice to meet you, Logan. Or have I seen you? I think I've seen you before, eh? Yeah. Yeah. Who knows? Yeah. Well, nice to see you today. Roman. Nice to see you. Oh, there's Nina. Nina, always a pleasure. Yes. Thank you.
You do have leather bags. Very nice leather bags.
Thank you. I know. No one appreciates it. I'm like
very nice, lovely.
No one. You're never appreciated in the village you're from. Amelia could care less. This is 60 years old. Who cares? Whatever. Hey, all right, Rich A. Well, you can. I'm gonna have an outlet sooner or later, a factory outlet. You can call me up. I'll send you. I'm gonna get a Zen bitch slap stamp on them. That should sell them. A unique leather bag with Zen bitch slap on it. Yeah. Rich A. Nice to see you, Rich.
I've got a trainer collection to match, Paul.
What?
I've got a trainer collection to match. I keep buying more trainers.
Oh, the trainers. Oh, yeah. What are you going to do? Yeah. Hey, it's an upgrade. Yes. Yeah. Oh, I spent $25 on a leather bag. Maybe 200,000 on cocaine. That's a little bit of a, wait a minute. I'm really mad at myself spending 25. What about the 200,000? At least I got a bag out of the deal. So, yeah, one of the things, hopefully, freedom from the bondage of self leads to is relief, you know? You're not worthy really of so much scrutiny. You know what I mean? You're really more like a grazing animal. You don't need to have a live cam watching you chew cud. You know what I mean? You're just roaming around like a free range alcoholic. No wildlife stories about you anymore. Yeah, it's just sort of, it's quite nice. Yeah. All right, Steve. Nice to see you, Steve. Can you imagine when I was throwing leather bags out in the garbage like you used to do with wine bottles? Yeah. The neighbors would see me. I threw so many leather bags out today. All right, I'm going off today. Yeah. I need my medication soon. We got Steve from Germany. Nice to see you, Steve. Oh yeah, we're starting to get to see you now. That's good, Steve. Thank you. And thank you for the help. I hear you title all the talks. That's good. Stefan on Having Never Left. Very nice. We've got William L. Nice to see you, William. We got Amy K from Seattle. Let's see. We have Kelly. Nice to see you, Kelly. Yeah. Let's see, we got it. If anyone, oh yeah, we got Steven down there. That's a nice picture above your head. That's cool. We've got Michael Stacy again. This thing's moving around. I think that's about it. Hey, thank you so much. And we'll be around Saturday. It's live and Zoom, 1 o'clock, live in Marin City. Let's see. And all the stuff is on events, zenbitslap.com.
Yep.
And thanks for having us today, and we'll see you soon, I hope.